we're gliding now.
Man, this is getting so legit. We've gone from like low budget to like big Hollywood production now.
Recently, we did it.
It looks like I've been like,
Yeah. That's perfect. Looks like you're getting interrogated a little bit when you
yeah, totally. Where were you last night?
Yeah, where are the bodies?
All right, I'll click record on my end.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, sweet.
Here we go. We're doing it. Right on. So you're in a. You guys have like a. How many rehearsal spaces do you personally go to? Is everything out of like the Giz HQ or whatever, or do you guys rehearsal in a different place?
Yeah, pretty much. We have our own setup here in Melbourne with King Giz. We have this big live room which we built like from a DIY like company. They just gave us like these walls and brackets and stuff, and I got a carpenter friend of mine to come and help us sort that out because we don't know what we're doing. Yeah, and we did that over like in between lockdowns and stuff. We got like a permit to do that actually and then we got our friends to come and film us build the studio. So because it's like the only way around it as a loophole to get it up and going. And then in the back we have like rooms already built. So the guy that used to live that rented this warehouse, he's I think he's in jail now. He got done for like firearms and drugs and stuff. But he had like a whole legit studio. He was kind of like Breaking Bad of like the Melbourne music scene. He has it at least like control room over there with like this crazy desk and like all these real flash microphones. And he had like a backline hire company. So like the walls filled with like drum kits and amps and stuff. So I think it's pretty kind of obvious where the money was going. But like, yeah, he had the control room, and then next to that had like a live recording room, which fits like 4 or 5 people pretty comfy-ish. And then there's a vocal booth sort of area, which I set up in. I've pretty much been just dominating that. Like everyone calls that the shrimp dungeon.
Yeah.
So I've just been in there. I'm in there most days just screaming into this guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, all the I think there's like Joe's still in Europe at the moment on holiday, but like Lucas, Cavs, Cook, and Stu are setting up in there right now to do some tracks today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so that place was already kind of set up before you guys even got in there for like recording and stuff?
Yeah. So these rooms were already set up like super legit.
Oh, cool.
And then there's only like a quarter of the warehouse, and then because he had this whole other half of it for like his cars and his backline stuff and all this other shit. So yeah, we built this big room for us to do like proper live rehearsal production stuff in.
Oh, right on. So when you guys are coming in there, you said that you have like the shrimp dungeon and there's like different kind of areas for you guys to work in. Do you guys like, is there like routines like, oh, you know, like you get in there at a certain time every day kind of a thing, or what's it like?
Yeah, pretty much like every day. I pretty much just treat it as like a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Bunch of us sort of do. But yeah, well, a lot of the time it'll be mainly probably me and Stu just like riffing on things, and then the guys will come in and out depending on what we're working on. But pretty much since we've moved into this space, it was like we did a KG, an LW, like fully isolation, and then like Butterfly 3000 was like sort of at the tail end of that. We still had our other studio like not far from here where it was combined with the Flightless headquarters and stuff. So like when we were like transitioning, moving out of there, I was like sneaking in there in between lockdowns, and then I started like sneaking in here in between lockdowns because no one else was coming in. And we had this like 5-kilometer rule here in Melbourne, and this was like within my 5 kilometers, so I just like would put a hoodie on and like skate like 10 minutes to here and come in and just be in this like in the shrimp dungeon by myself most days.
Yeah. Dude, who first started calling you shrimp? What's the deal with that? Don't you guys call them prawns in Australia?
Yeah. Well, like It was a joke that backfired on me. Basically, I remember. Remember that movie District 9?
Yeah.
And that actor, the guy who plays like the South African dude, the main guy, like, and he turns into a prawn.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he looked heaps like Eric.
Okay.
So I was trying to call Eric the prawn, and I kept trying to call him the prawn, and then Eric like flipped on me and started calling me shrimp, and then everyone just started calling me shrimp, and yeah, no one ever called him prawn except for me. And it just backfired, and I just turned into the shrimp somehow.
Oh, perfect.
But
yeah, it all worked out.
and I'm the youngest in the band, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, right on. Cool. Okay, so transitioning out of I guess Gizzard land into Murlocsville. This new record that you guys got coming out right now, and comes out the 16th, right?
Yeah.
That's like kind of focusing on adolescence, right? Or
Yeah, it's like a coming of age story.
yeah. So I guess I did want to kind of like take it back, I guess, to being a kid. Ambrose as a kid, like growing up. So was it a pretty creative, like, just household that you grew up in? Because it's really interesting to me that you have your father who's a musician himself, and then your mother is a model, right? I don't want to sound like an idiot, but that's true, right?
Yeah, model/yoga instructor.
Okay, so this just seems like a very, like, I don't know, like, okay, go ahead, go be creative, do your thing, type of environment. I mean, was it like that? Were you encouraged to just like go and do your own thing?
Yeah, more or less. It was sort of like a yin and yang. Like, Dad was kind of always like, "Don't do this. Become a lawyer, a doctor, or like anything but a musician. Your life will be hell." And I was just like, "I'm gonna show you, pops."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of And my parents like split when I was like 8 or something. And I remember like at that time, like maybe a year before that, when I knew like shit was hitting the fan, I started like being like, "Hey Dad, can you like show me how to play the harmonica?" So I used to always hassle him, and he was kind of just like, "Once you can bend a note, like you'll be sweet." Like he never like showed me how to like read music for harmonica or any of that stuff, or like, it was kind of just I'd just dive into his blues like CD collection, and I got obsessed with Blues Brothers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then before I knew it, I was like making Mum take me to like every like Sunday market and like festival, and I'd like busk and throw a hat down, and I used to wear like a full Blues Brothers suit at one point. I was so deep into it. And then I would take all my coins and go straight to the CD store and buy all these like bootleg blues CDs, which I didn't obviously realize they were bootlegs at the time. And I'd just get like Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee and Sonny Boy Williamson and Muddy Waters and Jimmy Reed and all that stuff. And then I would go home, listen to it all day, and then fall asleep listening to it on my like ghetto blaster.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like lived and breathed it. I was so into it. So yeah, it's sort of like it's kind of hard to pinpoint because it's sort of like a mixed emotions there of trying to, sort of just have a connection with my father, and also I just realized I just loved it at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they both never really had proper 9 to 5 like work jobs, so I think it's kind of a fair big part of me that I kind of wish in some ways that I had a bit more like discipline. Has kind of had a fair free reign, so like so like work ethic and stuff sort of has just come from like now being in Giz.
Yeah.
Being around people like Stu and stuff that like work really hard has given me heaps of good like stability and
Mm-hmm.
direction. I think for a long time I was obsessed with skateboarding and just living off like nothing and just like eating like packets of noodles and just hitching rides and stuff all the time. So yeah.
I mean, okay,
sort of
so
a lot in there.
yeah, speaking about like skateboarding, that's also really interesting. That was the thing that I was thinking about today. I was like, Dude, most people like grow up and they don't get really, really good at anything, but you got really good at multiple things from a young age. And I just don't even know how you were able to like focus on both. Like, how are you able to like focus enough? Because skateboarding is really difficult to get very good at it. You have to be like super focused. And then also you became like an awesome musician. It just seems crazy that you were able to get good at both of those things.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason things have happened the way they have is just because I just kind of just push myself, and I think confidence is key. I pretty much just fake everything to make it. Like skateboarding, so obsessed with from a young age, and still am like more than anything else. I watch it like constantly. I think it's the way skating gives you just like this like feeling that I've never experienced with like anything in life, like drugs, alcohol, like experiences, like anything. It's still not the same as like landing something like a trick that you've been trying for hours. Like it's just like the best feeling in the world, hands down. So I think, and it's just like it's just pure freedom as well. So like. And it just feels like it's your own thing, you know? You feel like, and then you have like these friends and the friendships and like the community that comes with it all is just like no other as well. You know, it's like it's now like considered almost a competitive sport, but it's one of the only competitive sports in the world where people actually like encourage their opponents. You know, it's sort of just like, it's such a loving community, and it's definitely just shaped and molded me as an adult, as a human. So I think I've definitely take a lot of like that like push and motivation and like ambition from skateboarding, and now I'm like invest that into like music and trying to get things done and make things happen, and you know, pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah. Because like skating is like that. Like you literally have to like bang your head against the wall. Like you have to like try 100 times, like thousands of times before you get something. So there's some sort of lesson in that. I feel like that does translate probably really well.
Yeah, totally. It gives you a lot of discipline to like push yourself to like your full mental and physical like limits and capabilities.
Mm-hmm. Have you come up with any tricks? Yeah. Is there like an Uncle Merle trick?
The shrimp?
No, I definitely tried to come up with some. The shrimp 360. No, I never like. No, I wish though. I think Roddy Mullen invented them all before I was even.
Yeah, that's probably true. Huh? Yeah, it is kind of interesting, like the juxtaposition of like sport plus creativity. I mean, it's such a creative sport. You're kind of like forced to be creative. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, think outside the box. Like everything has come from skating pretty much, like in an artistic approach as well. Like Jason Galea, who we work with now, like I met him when I was 14 through skateboarding. And like, you know, and like pretty much most of the people I've ever done video clips and like our artwork and stuff are just all like old skate friends. And it's sort of everyone just, you sort of just grown up with like videos and magazines and stuff, and like the music that comes from that as well. I feel like so many of my mutual like band friends and stuff, other than like the Giz guys, and are just so like privy to so much good music in all genres, you know, by the time you're like 16.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then once you like have all that influence, then it kind of helps you have a bit more of a foot in the door before everyone else with like pulling off like some good, cool music, I think.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering about that because, you know, I mean, all the stuff you were referencing before is like classically like just like solid foundational, like very good music. I was kind of like wondering, like, because I don't know, when I was 12, I was listening to a lot of garbage, like what a lot of people are. And I don't know, did you have any phase like that where you're listening to like, just, I don't even know, Ja Rule or something? I don't know. Not that he's garbage. He's
Can't believe you threw Ja Rule under the bus.
yeah, no.
Yeah,
sorry.
the first ever CD I ever bought was Will Smith getting jiggy with it.
Oh, okay.
a
A classic,
single.
though. Yeah. No.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, still banger.
7-inch.
And then I think for that Christmas I got like Teenage Dirtbag or something.
Oh yeah.
But both of them, it wasn't quite like, you know, it was not really enough substance in it for me to be like, yeah, like this is dope. Like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think after that I got like Batman Forever soundtrack and like Kiss from a Rose and stuff. I was like, yeah, this pops.
Yeah.
But then that was it's about like those three things that I can remember, and then all of a sudden it was just like Howlin' Wolf and shit.
Yeah. It's
And
weird
that was
though.
it.
Yeah, man. I feel like it's kind of interesting because I mean I'm like this. A lot of people I know are like this. It's like you have like this phase where you're listening to a bunch of like vapid kind of stuff, maybe that like maybe like my dad would be like, okay, this ain't it, and I'm like, no, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10 years later, I'm like, okay, maybe you were right, Dad. Like this, actually, the stuff you're listening to is kind of is solid. You know, it's like you come
Yeah.
back around.
Always are. Yeah, totally. Like, whatever. Shut up, Dad. You're lame. You didn't know anything. You're old and smell and stuff. But then, and then all of a sudden, you're like, God damn it. You knew all along.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When you were like, how old were you when you started like your first band, or like when you were in your first band? And what kind of music did you guys play?
So I like, when I was, little, I did all that busking stuff. And then all of a sudden, my dad's friend, like, said he would record me. So then I wrangled together a bunch of half-ass songs. It was like a 7-track CD EP thing called Blow the Blues when I was like 8 or 9 or something. And then I got super ashamed of that because I got thrown into like the skate world and hanging out with a lot of like dudes that were immediately older than me. And then when they started to discover that, they would just tease me for days on it. So I think I like destroyed most of those CDs because I was so embarrassed. And then I was like, screw that, I'm not doing music, and like, which I still regret so much to this day because I wish I just like pursued with like guitar and stuff at that point. I just like put it down and didn't give a shit about it for like ever, and kind of ever since. I think that kind of like scarred me. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't for that, I think things would have turned out a lot different. Probably would have turned into some like virtuoso douchebag and like, you know, crashed and burned by the time I was like 16. But yeah, so I like stepped away from music for a long time, got super into skating, was sponsored by the time I was like 10, and then was like on trips with like pros and stuff when I was like 12 and 13. So it was kind of like getting thrown in the deep end really quick with that. And then I met my best friend in in primary at the end of primary school, and yeah, he was like super keen musician, and he made me like come play harmonica with him all the time. So I always just had the harmonica still going because like harmonica was, you know, easy enough once you get your head around it to just you know, start jamming with people. So when I like moved to this primary school, I was playing at the festival, like the kind of big festival of the area. Somehow I was just like getting up and playing harmonica with like with blues guys and shit. It was like this weird little token kid. And then yeah, he kind of like pulled me back into doing it more. But yeah, at that time I was like, had my hair dyed black. I just wanted to be like Knox Godoy and like listen to the Ramones and Sex Pistols and watch like Baker 2G constantly. So I was like so on another path. And then yeah, all through my teenage years, we started keep playing music, and then we had a band, Ambrose Automobile, which is like blues rock stuff. So then yeah, by the time I was like 14 or so, we had a drummer, and then the bass player was Lucas, who's in Gizzard. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was playing bass with us from when I was like 15 or 14 or something. And then yeah, then we like started playing gigs, and we met like Cook and Stu, who had another band. And this is all down like in Geelong, like around the Surf Coast area of Victoria. And yeah, then we all just kind of grew up with each other in that sense. And we started just going to pubs every weekend and playing underage and getting, you know, drunk and stuff and doing all these things for the first time, kind of like all together at once. And then by the time I was like finishing high school, Stu was like always in bands as like the guitar player, you know. He never really sung or anything. And then when he started Gizzard, I saw Gizzard play, and I was like, I want to be in that band, like straight up. That's what I wanted. I hope he asked me to come play harmonica with them one day, because that's the band I want to play harmonica in, you know, like.
Oh, really?
I'd never seen anything like that yet. And then the next week he asked me to come play, and I just kept rocking up, despite him probably not wanting me to.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, I also at the same time as Gizzard started, literally probably only a couple weeks apart, I started Murlocs. And yeah, so it was kind of like starting to do gigs with Murlocs, you know, and like would play one place and then I'd go and see Gizzard play like, you know, later somewhere else or whatever. And yeah, it was kind of just all went intertwined.
That's crazy that you guys all knew each other for that long, and then it kind of just like wove into whatever this thing is now, this absolute force of nature that you guys have going on.
Yeah, I guess it was a somewhat like teenage prodigy supergroup at the time. Everyone, it was sort of like a collective thing of like all these different bands, and then yeah, the sort of dudes on the side like kind of just went, you know, all together, and the lead singers kind of got left behind a bit, which was unfortunate. But it kind of just happened so quickly. Like, you know, Gizzard is just a fast train, and if you don't like jump on board, you would miss the stop. Like, it just keeps, you know. So I was just lucky that I came last of the piece, and then I'm just super grateful that I've been able to keep Murlocs ticking along the whole time as well.
Yeah. So like,
because we were kind of both on a trajectory of like one step, you know, Murlocs were like literally 6 months behind Gizzard, you know, playing the same venues to selling out, you know, and then Gizzard was always like, you know, sort of like going like this, and then as soon as Gizzard went to the States, it just went like bang, and then yeah, kind of too hard to
really
ever catch up again.
How did that work with like, because I mean Australia is pretty, it just feels like it's kind of like isolated a little bit. I don't know if it feels like that being there, but then journeying over to like somewhere else, and you saying that kind of like was the flashpoint of everything taking off. Like, what was that like? I mean, like, how did you? Was it you guys were getting such a kind of following around, you know, where you were in Australia, and then it was just like, okay, now we can hop over here? Cause
yeah, pretty much. Well, it wasn't as simple as that. We were a 7-piece, and like we had no money, and then we won this like competition. You know, it's like not like, it's sort of just like, oh, you know, it was like a short list of like a bunch of bands doing good in Australia, mainly around Melbourne, and like Carlton Dry, this like beer company in Melbourne, and the prize was $50,000.
Oh, geez.
And so and then Stu called me one day when I was skating, and he was like, "Hey, we just won it. Like, we're gonna go to America for like 2 months." And I was just like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Yeah, I think from that moment, I just knew that it was going to just go to the next level, because everyone is just so determined and like on the same page constantly. So it was, yeah. And I feel like, yeah, Australia just sort of has a threshold, unless you can like sort of tick all these boxes, like in a certain demographic, like you have a long, like pretty decent career, but like, I don't know how to put it without put it down. Because it definitely was not going to be any room for, you know, a band like us and what we do. So we needed to venture out.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Wanted to hop in here, say hope you're enjoying the interview. Also wanted to say the reason we started doing all this is because we're a band. And all the music on this podcast featured is our music. So if you enjoy any of it, look us up. First names in Spotify or wherever you listen to stuff. Also, if you want to reach out and become part of the community that we're trying to establish here, just at First Names is a band on Instagram is probably the best way to do that. Also, wanted to say, if there are any artists or musicians that you want to hear an interview with, go ahead and let us know there. Like, DM us or comment anywhere. We'll see it. Just this thing started to feel like something that we can just provide for people, which is, what we want to do. So if there's anybody that you want us to try and get, we'll try and get them. Okay, we will try. Josh is an email meister, the e-meister. That's what everybody calls him at work. So he's gonna send a fat email with PH. So, anyways, hope you enjoy the rest of this, and we'll see you down the road. Love you.
Forgive me for not knowing this, but like, have you had like pretty much the same people in like the Murlocs the whole time, and do you kind of lead it like it's a fast train and we're going, and that's just kind of the nature of the business?
Yeah, Murlocs is sort of, it's hard, as we get older. You, I don't know how to explain it. Like, obviously, Matt and Cal are like my best friends, and we started the band together, and I'm super grateful that they've just stuck by me this whole time, because we can still be somewhat successful in what we do. I still consider us as a fairly decent sized band with a big enough name, but it's just so hard to, when you're in of such a force to be reckoned with like Gizzard, to keep everyone invested. There's only so long that people can put up with that, being like this, everyone calling Murlocs a side project, and all these things. Uh-huh. When it's its own entity, it's its own it's its own beast, and it's sort of, there's been a bunch of people come and go, but like Cal, me and Matt have been there from the start, and we've had 3 members leave or like asked to leave over our career as a band.
Yeah.
But Cook joined after rhythm guitarist left. He went and joined Frowning Clouds at the time, and then Cook joined, and then the bass player left, and then Cook jumped on bass, and we had Mladen on rhythm guitar, and then Mladen left, and then we got Tim playing keys and rhythm guitar. So it's been us 5 solidly for like 5 years or something. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting to me too that the Murlocs have you've maintained this specificity with it, where when you listen to the Murlocs, it sounds like the Murlocs, which is interesting because you guys are all playing in, like, multiple people in that band are playing also in King Giz, but it doesn't necessarily sound like that. It's its own thing. How do you separate that? Like, even when writing, and if you're writing a song, do you think this sounds like a Murlocs thing or this sounds like a King Giz thing, or how does that work?
No, it just sort of comes out just how it comes out. Like, we don't ever get enough time together to practice and rehearse these songs and then demo them and then go to a studio and spend a couple weeks. It's always kind of just like, all right, I'm home for a month. Let's start working out these ideas I've got or what Cal's got, and try and just quickly get cracking on it. Do twice a week or whatever we can do. Do it in different formations. It just depends on what the album is sort of going to be, but a lot of the time our albums have just been whatever, throw it all together, because it's the time constraints. But I think now I've just been, especially since Bittersweet Demons and now Rapscallion, I'm trying to make it a bit more conceptual and sort of trying to be like, this is what this album's going to be, so we don't end up with a couple of weird ballads and everyone's sort of just thrown in literally what just pours out of them, sort of trying to give it a bit more of a direction. So yeah, it just depends on who's writing the songs. Like, I try and keep it real collaborative because because we're in Gizzard, we don't have enough time to just me or Cook to be like, all right, this is my album. Like, I'm going to write all the songs and
right.
blah, blah, blah. And yeah, everyone in Murlocs is super capable of writing their own tunes because they're all got their own other bands as well. And so, but recently with Rapscallion, it's a product of Cal Shortall coming through and just writing all the music. And it was through lockdown, so he'd just send demos of songs, and then I would write Then he was on like a run, and he was just smashing out like tunes, like sending me a couple a week. And at the time, I was like working on a Gizzard record or something, So I didn't. We just finished Bittersweet Demons, and a couple months went by, and he's like, "All right, I'm bored. Like, here's some songs. Bang, 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 bang." And then like within a month, we had like the whole album. And then it was just like, all right, cool. This is how I just tracked it. Like, I just put it in sequence of like how I want it to sound musically, like in like big bang at the start, a few dips, and then like, kind of blah, blah, blah. And then I went ahead and dove into having enough time to write a conceptual like storyline of this character, and each song is in like sort of chapter by chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was like for the first, I was kind of like, Bittersweet Demons is a lot of like 70% or something of like my songs written on piano, and I kind of just put so much time and effort into that, and I was just wanting to write more and contribute more to Gizzard, because I've just always been more involved with Murlocs and always sort of was more of a play in the live sense more than on the records with Gizzard, and that was mostly because I wasn't confident enough and not a good enough musician as well to jam with those, to like, be able to confidently play with like Stu and those guys. So I would take my song ideas to Murlocs where I had free reign, and it was sort of like my way or the highway kind of in a sense, but then but everyone's open to their opinions. So it just, it comes in all different ways, but basically, Rapscallion is Cal's songs, and then I wrote the storyline and the lyrics, and then pretty much all the other albums we've done have been like couple songs, a few songs from me, a few songs from Cal, one song from Cook, one song from Matt, one song from Tim, and we've just finished another record after Rapscallion already. We finished it like 4 or 5 months ago, and it's just like all of us writing songs together.
Oh, really?
So,
like collab, like jamming?
Nah, all in ISO, but just sending
okay.
songs to each other. Like, like I was saying before, a couple from each of us.
Oh, okay.
So is that one
Although,
conceptual
none
as well?
from me musically. Nah, I can't really give away too much on that
Oh,
yet.
right, yeah.
But, so that's normally probably how we'll just keep doing stuff, because we never get enough time to...
Yeah.
It depends. I don't know. Kind of just see what happens.
Yeah.
Just comes in its weird, mysterious way.
Well, it's interesting that you say that there's so many different ways that the songs come together, because they feel like you got Manic Candid episode, and I feel like that almost feels like a bridge from the first records to these these more recent records like Bittersweet Demons and the singles from Rapscallion. They feel like, I don't know how to like describe it, almost like more like focused, but everything feels elevated. Like it really does feel like it's like this more concise, elevated, like everybody rose up. Because I'm listening to every song and I'm like, dude, this song's really good. Like every piece of it feels like it's correct, or like it feels right within everything. And I don't know, I guess this is more than anything just like me telling you that I really like it. I think it's really good, and thank you for making it. But it's just impressive too.
Yeah, sweet. This is about Rapscallion, we're talking.
Yeah, Rapscallion and
yeah.
Bittersweet Demons. Both of them.
Great,
wow.
yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Oh, cheers. Like Bittersweet Demons, I was just listening to a lot of like Lennon and Elton John and shit, and I we'd finished Manic Candid episode. I was like, I want to rock, like I want to, and then then we started touring Infest the Rat's Nest with Gizzard, and I was like, I'm fucking over it. Like, I want to do like soft rock. I want to chill, bro. Like, this is just too hectic. Because that's all I listen to really, is just like soft rock stuff. But yeah, so then that's why we dove in that direction, and then I think Cal just always knew that we were wanting to do this heavy record, and he hadn't written any songs on Bittersweet Demons. The one song of his was Skyrocket, which was like a leftover track from Manic Candid episode. So we'll kind of all like, come on, Callie, like it's your time to step up to the plate, man. Like, because he writes a lot of the bangers. Like he's written like Rolling On and stuff, and he can write a hell of a tune. So once he started like coming out of his shell again and sending me all these ideas, I got just super jacked on it and just started, just coming up with this whole storyline, and it's kind of loosely based around like me and his like sort of upbringing of like living on the coast and whatever, and hitchhiking and jumping trains, dodging ticket inspectors and people of authority and shit like that. So there's all little elements of that. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think Rapscallion is definitely going to be a hard one to top for a while.
I mean, it feels like both the singles off of it, I was like, oh, this one's really good. And then the next one, I was like, wow, this is really... It reminded me of when I first listened to Comfort Zone. To me, I was just like, whoa, this isn't what I was expecting. And it also just like felt like the bar has been raised now. Like it felt like, you know, you mentioned Elton John a little bit, and it felt the same, like where it hit me in the same spot that like the chorus of Rocket Man, like whenever that hits, for whatever reason, it just hits me inside, and I'm like, oh, something's happening here. Same thing happened with like Comfort Zone, and now with this, what is it, Mentis Corpus or Compos Mentis? Same kind of thing with that
Mentis,
one. Yeah.
That one's sick. Very good.
Sick, cheers.
Dude, and
yeah, like, sorry, go on.
no, you go. Yeah.
Okay, sweet, because I won't stop. I'm blabbermouth sometimes. Comfort Zone. I didn't even realize how similar the chorus was to Rocket Man till later on. Someone pointed it out, but it's weird how things happen like that when you just sort of like I just got obsessed with that like Leave On song by Elton John mainly, and like Plastic Ono Band record and stuff. But like the Comfort Zone idea was like so old. It was like just some random iPhone memo I found, and like on the way to a Murlocs rehearsal, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like maybe we'll try and jam that tonight. And then I remember like it just like the chorus and everything just started like naturally just pouring out. Like I was just like singing these melodies and shit, and I was like, oh, this is funky. Like I don't know why this is happening right now, but it's like there was some magic going on.
It's the greatest.
And then after that, driving home, I was just like, hell yeah, this is the shit I want to do. Like this is what I've been wanting to do my whole life, and I think that's why I got so jacked on that. And then I was like, I want to try and do more like that, and that's what Bittersweet Demons became. Me trying to like channel that energy again. But yeah, and then now Compos Mentis, like Cal's just really good at writing like soft songs. Like he wrote like Rolling On and all that sort of stuff, like a lot of our like nicer poppy stuff. But yeah, it was good to hear him get a bit more raw with like Subsidiary and Ballerina and Bobbing and Weaving, and you know, kind of just get that little like rugged, grumpy little man thing inside of him.
Let it out.
Yeah. He was just kind of letting it out through his guitar. But yeah, I think we're lucky because my voice and his guitar tone kind of just work really well together, I think.
Okay.
That's an interesting noticing. That's cool. I wonder, how that works. But
yeah, we don't know anything about music. We just like it.
Yeah, I think it's called being a bogan without realizing it.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if that's a term that we use out here, but like...
No, it's like redneck.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that probably tracks a little bit with us, so...
yeah, we're a little trashy at heart.
Yeah.
Shelby said, the really like raising the bar, and that's something that's like words that we use a lot to like say like push ourselves, and like I just love that when you're listening to a band and like they might not see it as like raising the bars, anything like that, but it's cool when you already like a band and they come out with a new album or a new CD or single or whatever, and you can tell they're really challenging themselves versus like they're just kind of phoning it in. And I feel like with all your new music, you feel like you're actively trying to like make something that you really like believe in and are inspired by at the time. I just think that's really cool, and it's evident in the music you're putting out right now.
Yeah, totally, and I agree with you. Like, I feel like everything we've put out up until pretty much Bittersweet Demons is, as like I was saying before, just been a bunch of random songs, thrown together, and because of like not having enough time, it just sort of ends up being this weird, like sort of phoning it in, kind of rambled. Like I don't know. I think like Young Blindness was maybe a bit more rehearsed and thought out. think like loopholes will just kind of just, I don't know, smoking too much weed and just like overthinking everything and stressing about like how impactful this first album is supposed to be, and then we were like never really happy with what we had going at the time. Yes, so I think my favorite albums is like Young Blindness, and like I feel like Loopholes and Old Locomotive were just like pretty random. And then like Manic Canned Episode was kind of like starting to take a bit more of a like serious turn, a bit more control with like, you know, being a bit more concise. And then I think now the stuff we're doing is just gets better and better,
Yeah,
I reckon.
totally.
And it's not surprising to me at all that you guys are like best friends, because whenever I play with someone else, it's like if they're awkward, they play awkward. Or like if we're not gelling like personality wise, a lot of times the jam doesn't really take off, you know, and that might sound like cheesy or something, but it's cool that you guys
totally.
can be isolated, and you guys just, since you guys are already on that wavelength, that it still gels even though you're not in the same place.
Yeah, 100%. It's sort of like, you know, the first is one of the Giz guys trying to come in to grab a lead or something, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, because we are such good mates, probably those early records, a lot of the time we'll just piss farting around and just like having drinks and talking shit rather than like, you know, using the time we had to like get shit done. And I think now that we're older and we're just taking things a bit more seriously because, you know, we're not getting any younger. So kind of utilize the time well that we have together. And I'm probably just turning into more of a narcissistic asshole as well. Just keep cracking the whip. But I think they love me for it, I hope so.
It's so crazy.
No one else is gonna do it.
Yeah, someone. Yeah, it's so interesting to me that you guys all stay so motivated. It's crazy. Like the Giz stuff. It's just like, oh, like when I saw the post that you guys were gonna put 3 records out in a month, it was just like, I mean, of course, but like the fact that you guys are just maintaining this like workflow, like this work ethic thing, is bananas to me, because I spend a lot of my days just like listening to like Tony Robbins and stuff, trying to get myself to do anything. And the fact that like, you know, most recording artists, they'll put out a record every 2 years and everyone's like, that's right on time. And it's just funny that you guys are like, yeah, we're in like 4 different projects, we're all putting out a record, and also this band is putting out 6 this year. It's crazy.
Even the Murlocs, you're already done with your album that your first one's not even out.
Yeah, but I think I just owe all that to Stu and his work ethic, and being around that, it gets you juiced, you know. A lot of the time it's like, a lot of the time going into the studio, like thinking about it, you're like, oh, like really, like can we just like chill for a bit? And then once you're like doing it, you just feel immediately better about yourself because you're being productive.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're making shit happen, and like, yeah, you know, there's people's attention span these days are a lot shorter. So I think you just got to hit it while the iron's hot constantly, or else you just get forgotten about, especially being a rock band.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's sort of slim pickings. You got to just smash it, or else you just get smashed. Pretty much.
I talk about that a lot, though, that whole thing of like, you were saying that like a lot of times it's like, oh, I don't want to go in there. But then once you're doing it, you're like, this is great. Like, why was I even overthinking it? I feel like there's so much of that in everything, and I'm always having to like bamboozle my mind into like, no, Shelby, you like this, just start doing it.
It's all mental. Yeah, totally. It's all mental. It's totally all mental. Like, you know, and I think just being around, like Stu, like coming in here every day, and we're just like making, like doing shit, just riffing off each other. And even if I'm not like playing on it, he'll just get me to come in and tell me what I think, you know, or just use me as a soundboard or whatever, and you know, maybe throw in ideas of arrangement of like structures or whatever. And I think I just get real juiced off that I want to like take that and push that with the Murlocs, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, I think a lot of people in bands or whatever just dwell, and then they just get stuck inside their own head, and you know, they have a lot of like influence in other people hounding them as well. You know, we don't have anyone to answer to. We're our own bosses and do what we want. So, you know, it's kind of like, and you know, you got to like work even harder, you know, to be at that point. And you know, reap the benefits of doing that, because it's it's a long road to the top.
Yeah.
But it's true, especially being a band from Australia. AC/DC are not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know what's up.
It's from the outside looking in, it just seems like you guys are having so much fun in every like element that you guys do, even like making music from, especially like your guys' videos. Every time I watch a video, it's like, oh shit, they're having so much fun. And is that something that you guys like value a bunch? Like, is it like, okay, we're gonna make this video, let's make it fun? And like, what is your approach to like do you normally get the ideas from other people with the videos, or is it like you kind of are all just like, this seems like a goofy thing, let's just go do it? How does that work?
It's always pretty spontaneous, to be honest. Like, Straws in the Wind clip, we had like a week before. I think it was literally like 24 hours or something before we were going to go back into a Melbourne lockdown or something. And we needed to do a video clip, and I was like, let's do a song for Straws in the Wind. I'll go to the hardware shop now and buy like a leaf blower, and I'm going to like dress like Big Lebowski, and we're going to just dance around in front of a green screen and see what happens. It sort of just comes in different ways every time. It depends on what's going on, but I think a lot of the time we like to just sort of let the director have like creative control and do what they want to a certain extent. We pretty much give free rein to anyone, because we just also don't have any time to like come up with any ideas ourselves, because other than just giving them a song and hopefully they just don't make it too literal.
Yeah. Was this new King Giz one for with Joey just dancing in Greece somewhere? Like, I mean, was that just like that almost with your guys' personality though? It just feels like something that you guys would say, like, oh, this would just be fun. Let's just have Joey just like dance down the steps of this thing for 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was crazy. We'd made the call, the tough as decision to cancel that recent European tour. And we were at the airport going to Prague to play the last show before we were going to pull the plug. And then it occurred to me that Danny Cohen was already flying over to Europe to come and jump on the bus with us in like 2 days and come on the road for 2 weeks and film a clip for Ice 5. And we're just like, I was like, Stu, like he's in like Berlin already. Like what are we going to do? And then like, Stu's already stressing out and feeling like dog shit. So I'm just like on the phone to Danny, like, all right, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like, I'll stay back for a week. Like, I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes or whatever. Like, and then like, I'm like, Joe's staying till like end of the year. Cook's gonna go to like Greece for a week. I think Joe might go there too. And then he's just like, yeah, cool. I think I just want to film Joe though. I'm really into his like strong European look he's got going on. So yeah, I think I just want to just film Joe if he's down to like do that, and like got it in him to somehow pull off this 10 minutes. So I was like, oh shit, Joe, and Joe's face kind of like changed, and then he was like, okay, like, I got this, fellas. And and then when we saw the first cut, I was just like, hell yeah, Billy Elliot 2 looks dope.
What a great approach, though. It's so good. I mean, dude, we can overthink shit.
He's the only one that works out, so it was gonna. Yeah, he's got the stamina.
And you got enough people that you trust, at least like their tone or like their, them as people, and it's awesome. You guys have like a Willy Wonka warehouse of cool shit, and you have a lot of creative, awesome people that you can count on. And I know there's like, you have to run it like a business, but I mean, earlier you said, I wish I had like more discipline, like a lot of people working like just, actual like 9 to 5 with boss. But as a person who works a 9 to 5, I think you guys are more ambitious and hardworking than the average 9 to 5er anyways.
Yeah, I'm on my 3rd round of Seinfeld right now, okay? So
yeah.
Man, you gotta have that shit on repeat, like while you're cooking breakfast and stuff. I've already watched all of Seinfeld like 20 times.
Dude, yeah, it really is the perfect just have on while you're like vacuuming, and then you look up and you're like, oh, it's the Bobco one. Yeah.
yeah, you're just like, in the bathroom brushing your teeth and giggling because you already know what it is.
Hell yeah.
That and Simpsons is perfect background comedy. Cookie's a big Simpsons fan. He's just here right now.
Oh yeah.
Right on. I was actually even
Yeah.
gonna ask you about Cook. Like, it feels like, I don't know why, but I'm just like, I feel like that guy has like some sort of hidden talent. Like, is he like a woodworker or something? Or like a really
Yeah,
good
he's
chef?
got many hidden talents.
Yeah. Hey, Cook.
Yeah,
What's
he's
up?
he's a woodworker. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think he's a mean chef. He can.
Yeah, I can cook oven.
Yeah, what have you been cooking lately?
Sausages.
Sausages. He loves a good snag.
I do want to ask, how do you feel playing like Levitation and playing like with Gizzard and
Yeah.
Murlocs, and like we're fucking stoked to see you in Austin
Yeah, we're excited.
again. We
Yeah.
saw you in Austin. I think last time you were here, you played at the Barracuda, and you guys kicked ass.
Yeah. I think last time I played, a few years ago at Levitation. Yeah, and then last time with Murlocs, we played at the Barracuda as well on our tour. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Drummer Matt has his sister's wedding in Oz on the same day, so we've been in a bit of debacle. But now Cavs is going to fill in for that show for Murlocs.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I'm gonna have to like buy him some champagne or something to say thanks. But yeah, we were just talking about that before, and I was just starting to write a set list for Levitation because yeah, he's gonna jump on the kit
Oh,
for
cool.
that one off.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be that'll be a special random thing to do.
Yeah.
One off.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, that might already be out. I don't know when we're gonna put this out. Whenever you want us to, but yeah, we can't wait to see
Oh
it.
yeah, whenever suits. Yeah, cool.
Is there like a spot, like, you guys have been all over the world, is there like a specific place that you're like, oh yeah, like, let's add this to the tour because I like it there? They have nice, good bread or something.
I
don't know.
wish. Nah, I don't know. We always kind of keep everything. I know everyone, especially in Giz, like, half the guys have kids now, and, everyone's got partners, wives. So I think we've just always, the first couple of years we went really hard of like going on tour for like 2 months at a time. And after that, we were just burnt out. And we're like, nah, we just need to keep it like within a month. So we just sort of hit whatever makes sense in that period. But,
Right on.
yeah, no, recently Greece, we've all really been into Greece. As you can see, Joe's real into Greece.
Yeah. It did
But,
look fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun. Nah, it's super sick. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. Obviously, heaps of America is really cool. I feel like every time we go back, we start to realize how much we love it. There's so many good spots. Yeah, I don't know. It sort of just depends on what everyone feels like eating or something.
Yeah.
A kebab, you go Greece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think we're all obsessed with the gyros now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right
we
on.
always end the podcast the same way. Do you have? We're asking for 2 songs that you are interested in
Oh,
or
shit.
inspired
Or
by, or it could be something you liked when you were 13. Could be something.
I don't know. I'll probably just go with something relevant and new. I'm really into that. There's this Sydney band called RMFC. All their stuff is real sick. They got a new single out called Access. That's a banger.
Okay.
Here in Melbourne, there's always stuff going on. Probably like Wrong Side of Town by The Prize. They're like a new band here in Melbourne. It's sick, sort of like glam rock 70s vibe. Heaps like Thin Lizzy or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect recommendations.
Awesome.
I like giving the spotlight to some more Melbourne artists. And there's so much cool stuff happening in Australia with the music scene. Well, thank you for taking this time. This is our Thursday night. It's your Friday morning. We'll let you go. Get back to work.
Yeah.
It's been great talking to
Alright.
you. You're really generous with your time.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah,
See
bye.
you, Shrimp.
Bye. Sayonara. Shrimp out.
As soon as I said that, I thought he was going to say, like, only my friends can do that.